Hi, and welcome to this week's Take 5. In the space of a week, we're going to look at about 22 chapters of Psalms. The first 22, they were written by David. Now, there are 150 Psalms that were written almost over 1,000 years. 73 of them were written by David in his lifetime. And so we're going to focus on those this week, the first 22 of them. So we're going to go for a handful of Psalms each day. Hopefully you'll be able to keep track, keep reading, because there's utter gold in these Psalms. And the first 5 that we're going to look at today really helps us understand how to relate to God. Remember, these are a collection of prayers and songs that people who have been pouring out their heart have expressed. Often the challenges of the world that they face, or the joys of the world, the provision that God has provided them. And they pour these into these prayers and these songs, and we can learn so much from them. Now, David, who wrote the first all these Psalms that we're going to be looking at today and for the rest of the week. Now, David was a very experienced man. He started out as a shepherd. He then went to become a mighty warrior, and then he became king of the Jews, the golden age of the Jewish nation. And his expressions of prayer and worship are real golden nuggets. They help us see that he was truly honest with God. He knew the joy, he discovered the joy of obeying God. Now that sounds a bit like a contradiction, doesn't it? Obedience and joy. Is it obedient? In our modern language, that doesn't sound very connected, does it? Because most people feel that freedom in life is away from God's will, to actually do what you want when you want to. But David's discovered in his journey through life that he can trust in God no matter what happens to him, no matter what the circumstances. He will always trust in God. It's a bit like saying that, well, we're designed by God, so he should know how we work best. And like fish out of water, if we think we can survive outside of God's will, then we're not going to stay healthy for very long. The healthy option is actually to stay within God's will and see the benefits and the blessings of it over long term. Short term, temptations, sins and things are very enticing for short-term gain, but they don't actually help us satisfy and fulfill us in a lifetime. And David's discovered the secret of this. And so even if he's surrounded by his enemies, even if he is almost hopeless, he can have hope in God. And that's what we should do. We should turn to God when we're in trouble. We should reach out to him and say, these circumstances are here for a season, but I'm still going to trust God. I'm still going to put my faith in him, because faith can turn fear away. We can turn our fear into faith, and we can turn our anger. David, in one of his Psalms that we're looking at today, talks about don't let your anger take control of you. Because our fear and our anger, these are strong emotions, and they can dominate our lives and they can lead us down the wrong paths. Whereas if we focus on God, we put him in his right place, Almighty God above everything, all powerful. It helps us gain a different perspective. And with that perspective, we can find joy, a sense of inner peace, because we know that God is ultimately in control. Now we're going to be looking at that further as the week goes on. I'll see you tomorrow.